Alright, well, since this guy's down for the count, I guess it's time to finish him off. Alright, let me just pry that mouth open. Pry that mouth open. What the heck? That thing barely budges.
You have foolishly fell for my trap.
What trap would that be?
My jaw was designed in a way to keep it from opening super wide. I mean, literally, this is as far as it'll open. And with that, you'll never be able to break my jaw like the other dinosaurs. So, suck it.
Well, I didn't want it to resort to this.
What are we resorting to?
Good old faithful.
I don't want that in my mouth.
Yes, you do.
No, I'm pretty sure I don't.
Oh, alright, well, have you ever seen, one of those... Oh, what do the kids call them? It's called a hentai.
You mean like those pervy animes?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know what you and those things have in common?
No.
That when they say no in them, they actually mean yes.
Well, sir, that kind of sounds illegal and possibly could be a form of...
Listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
I'm Jessica.
And today I'll be going over the vintage paleo art Tyrannosaurus Rex Mesozoic Rhapsody, the Valley color scheme. So the Mesozoic Rhapsody is the official dinosaur, and then Valley would be the color variant. Scale 1/35. Main reason we picked this up is just because it's a nice homage to like the vintage old style dinosaur figures and just movies in general where it's dragging along the tail. Dogs kind of make a snorty sound in the background. And this one in specific thought would be sweet to go along with the NECA Kong. And just like the King Kong figures in general, because it kind of has that same feel as that film, or even like films like The Valley of Gwangi, stuff like that. Where it's got like the same look as like the Allosaurus from that movie. But anyways, you got anything to add, dear?
I don't think the paint job, paint job doesn't match what is on the box, honestly, but I mean...
We'll get to that. It does look not quite the same. I guess when we first show off, we'll keep it on the table, because for the most part, this guy's a statue, so there isn't going to be like too much in terms of like articulation to really talk about.
Yeah.
But anyways, speaking of further packaging, it's seen slightly better days. Not as bad as the one that'll be out next week, because we got the Californication. Yeah, that dude. This was a little worse for wear. Thankfully, both figures were fine. They put a crap ton of padding, but
the nice thing about Rebor is at least it's nice.
Well, I guess it's technically considered a substandard grade, anyways.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's mostly just really black packaging. Shows you the other dinosaurs in the line. Still kind of want to get those too.
They haven't come up as pre-orders yet.
Yeah, but I still want them. I still almost want one more of these two. Probably that one in specific. To be honest, that one actually kind of looks closer to what we got, to be fair.
I know.
Anyways, that's pretty much it. We already talked about the legal mumbo jumbos and stuff. But anyways, let's get them opened up. It's cardboard prison. Alright, so like we mentioned, first and foremost, going over the color scheme. As you guys can see, he looks really purple with some almost like an orangish yellow color, right? On the undersection of the neck. This guy, not so much. Still got a bit of the purple kind of thing going on, but it's definitely not nearly as like this is almost like Evangelion, like anime purple here. That's more like, this is almost borderline gray. It's like a purplish gray color. So for me, I kind of think the box is a little bit deceptive. Even with the eyes, like that's super bright yellow. The yellow here kind of faded, more or less matches the sand coloring on the stomach region here. And like it's almost like when they took the picture, they upped the contrast on it. Like made it super saturated and contrast it, and that's kind of what we got with the color scheme here. While he looks a little bit more muted. Now, I'm not saying it's bad the way it's set up. It's just for what was expecting, looking at some of the colors from some of the promotional stuff, is not quite what we got here. To be honest, was Californication? Yeah, he's a lot closer to what the... I'd say he looks a little more green, but I guess we'll get to that here when we get to it. Actually, yeah, well, I guess I'll show you guys real quick, but he is actually a lot more green than what's on the box, too. Which is weird, to say the least. Because that almost looks like it should have been like a skin tone. But anyways, for a closer look at the details, head sculpt is really nice, though. Where you get... One thing I love is the ear on the side here, where it's just a little hole on the side of his head. Kind of matches his nostrils on the front section. You get a lot of nice scaling throughout the entirety. Another thing too I like is because it's more like vintage dinosaur, it actually has like legitimate scales to make it look almost more reptile in a way. Like even the way the snout's kind of presented makes it seem more reptilian. And with the more,
The dewlap.
yeah, the dewlap, the more stretchy neck skin, and then it has even the more snake-like underjaw here.
Well, that's more like a iguana.
Okay, yeah, but he's got like the giant circle deer.
Yeah, like an iguana.
Fine, be that way.
Yeah.
Me. But he does got a lot of teeth. One thing too is he does have articulated jaw. It doesn't do much though.
I don't know if mine's just, you know.
It's very bouncy. Might have to try to heat that up afterwards, but just want to review this guy straight out of the package, and it's not fantastic. You can kind of force it a little bit, but still wants to raise up a bit. So I'm feeling like there's some kind of plastic or something's getting in the way there that wants to keep it from coming down, but kind of holding the teeth in place. They are painted very nicely, where you get a bone color where it fades into a little bit of like a more brown color towards the top to kind of make it look more weathered, like he's definitely been eating a lot. It's got tartar buildup. Gums look really good. You get some pinks with some red highlights, same with the tongue. And then you can see even towards the back of his throat is very nicely detailed too. So one thing that's nice about Rebor is like they spare no
Expense when
yeah.
it comes to detail.
So even some of the minute areas still got a lot of attention paid to it. Now it's one of those like you can't really get away with though. Like if you're expecting to have an articulated mouth, the inside's got to be done right. But sometimes you could definitely imagine they wouldn't really like maybe spend as much paint or time on the back of the throat. But then again, the way you have to paint it, like you'd paint it and probably put the jaw on it.
Yeah.
I would think. But for the rest of the dinosaur, scales look really good. Get some of the skin folding around this section here. You can see the bit of the rib cage. It's got the line along the spine here. Then the thighs, you can see some of the muscles in the legs there. I get some stretchy skin in between the legs. It's got a little bit of a chunky body. Nothing too crazy though. Also like that he's got 4 fingers. Or three. Sorry, three. I know what I meant to say. A little bit on the short side, but it's supposed to be a T-Rex with 3 fingers. But I digress. I was like, heck, both of them would technically run for a T-Rex anyways. It's got 3 toes though. With the one in the back. Also the scaling on the bottom of the feet look really nice too. And he's got that little bulge.
Tyrannosaurus did have 3 total fingers.
But the Tyrannosaurus is supposed to have 2.
They did have some.
It's supposed to have 2. T-Rex. Jurassic Park.
There are Tyrannosaurs that do have 3 claws.
But it's not Tyrannosaurus Rex though.
Yeah.
It's just the subspecies or whatever the technical fancy terms call for it.
It's a Tyrannosaurus. That's why T-Rex is a horrible name for the biggest literal Tyrannosaurid.
Anyways, like I mentioned, he's got 3 toes. And the tail looks good too. He's got a little bit of spikes on the tip of the tail, which is a little odd that it only has it right there, but nothing along the body. But it's kind of harkens back to the way the dinosaur was designed to begin with. And he's got that little, like I mentioned, the bulge here on the groin region. It's kind of awkward too because you have to attach the tail, but you got to hold on to that section while getting it in there. Makes you feel a little dirty. Not gonna lie. I still feel dirty. Nonetheless.
Not like you're touching his cloacal slit or whatever.
That's the word I was thinking of the other day. We're talking about the Articuno figure, and we were doing Arnez and Benny were doing the video. Sorry, I wasn't. Benny was trying to figure it out. And I'm like, what the heck is that butthole thing on the bird? I know it's not a butthole. Yeah, okay. Well, that's better. Anyways, detail's nice. This is the paint job. Well, still fine. It's got, like I said, the purplish gray with a little bit darker undertones for the skin. And then the actual front here is more of a yellowish skin color with a little bit of a darker color on the undersections. Like I'd say more like a reddish brown underneath. Maybe not quite reddish. It's like mixing like some orange, some red, and some like light yellow. You'll kind of get that color there. But still really nice. It gives a nice contrast, but also makes it look a little bit more realistic than what because to be honest, I like the coloring on the box, but it's definitely not what I would expect to see a dinosaur actually looking like, especially from the films. You see this be a more traditional paint application. And again, for the articulation, mouth can open to close, arms can go a little bit forward and back, and that's pretty much about it. So for some quick comparisons, and what happened to my table? It's all covered in fluff and leaf particles. Oh yeah, I did the photos before I did this part. That makes more sense. Usually happens first couple of times I use those things for videos. But anyways, for the quick comparison, here we have him next to what I think is probably the most important comparison, at least for me, is how it stacks up next to some 33 Collins, which we have the NECA and the McFarlane. Which for the NECA, I think personally it's pretty much perfect. Like he's a little bit taller, but I think that works really well with that, and scale-wise, pretty spot on. While McFarlane, well, I'd still say you're my preferred Kong, just in terms of looks. Doesn't work as much. Well, then with the chainy bits and what have you. I probably should have grabbed the Mezco. Well, he's about the same size, so it would still work. Anyways, next to some other Rebor, well, sort of dinosaur figures with the V-Rex and the X-Rex figures. Anyways, some other retro-style dinosaurs in my collection with the other Rebor T-Rex, which is the Californication one. And then we got the Star Ace Allosaurus. And here's some Jurassic Park figures. Well, Jurassic World, Jurassic Park / Mattel figures. Amber. Yeah, anyways, we have the figure of Bumper from the Camp Cretaceous line. And we have the Amber Collection Velociraptor from the Lost World. And then here is some custom figures. Well, one's a commission, a custom, and one's just one for myself anyways. Which we have a Cloft Ernest P. World. From this particular look is Ernest Goes to Jail. And then the bootleg Kong repainted to more accurately look like he did in the movie. So it's a little bit more reds and browns with some yellow, like sand color highlights to show off the hair a little bit more and kind of give him more of an aged look. And also did the axe. Not 100% of these guys are going to be getting videos. Definitely probably not Ernest, but Kong's a good possibility. So overall for the Rebor's Vintage Paleo Art Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Mesozoic Rhapsody Valley figure, this thing's great. My wife isn't currently with us anymore. Well, not dead. She's just, this is filmed the next day and she's not home right now and I need to finish this so we can put it up for today's video. But yeah, this thing's great. Outside of, I kind of wish that the jaw kind of opened a little bit more because the way it sits right now, it's kind of finicky and could been a little bit better there. Maybe he had a little bit more of a slit underneath the jaw just to be able to kind of increase it more. Then I kind of noticed it with articulating a tooth that the tongue shifts, which I think is another detriment to the overall articulation for the jaw, but it's nice. To be honest, these are more or less statues anyway, so even getting some articulation is definitely better than just not having it. And I still really like the detailing. I like the paint job, even though it's not as accurate to the box as I would like it to be, but it's still nicely painted nonetheless, and works fantastically with the NECA Con if you guys ever pick that figure up. For me, they scale pretty much perfectly. But anyways, what do you guys think? If you guys picked up this figure, what's your favorite Tyrannosaurus action figure, or is Dilophosaurus just more you think? Please let us know in the comments. We also have an Instagram, Patreon, Pinterest, and Facebook. Guys, like even the name of the channel, donate. We greatly appreciate it. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting the like button, subscribe, become a Ranger today. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.